Welcome to Malethabo Accounting Academy. So on this lesson or in this video, I am going to explain where does the accounting equation derive from. So I'm going to explain where does the format, or where does, the manner in which this equation is structured, where does that derive from? Okay, so the actual equation goes like this. Okay, before I say that, I think I would like to take this chance to advise you to grab your exam pad and your pen so that you can write down the actual equation, and as I help you get to, how we got there, you can scribble that down. Okay, so the equation goes like this. Assets is equals to owner's equity plus liabilities. I'm going to repeat that. Assets is equals to owner's equity plus liabilities. Now that does not make sense in my head. When I take the chance and actually think about it, it does not make sense. And I am pro understanding and knowing. I am anti-cramming because I believe that if you cram, you are more likely to forget, especially with accounting. But if you know and understand, you are less likely to forget, right? Okay, so that equation, or the format of how the equation is structured, that it does not make sense to me. What makes sense to me is when we say owner's equity equals to assets minus liabilities. I'm going to repeat that. So what makes sense to me is owner's equity is equals to assets minus liabilities. Okay, but that is not the format that accountants today are using, right? So I want to help you understand how did we get to the actual equation, or the format of the actual equation that is used today. So let's look at my equation. So we're going to look at my equation, which makes sense to me, and use that and try to get to the actual equation that is being used today. Okay, so now accountants today, they prefer that on the equation, asset is made the subject of the formula, right? So meaning they prefer that asset is made the subject of the formula. Now let's take my equation. My equation says owner's equity is equals to assets minus liabilities. So we're going to now we need to work towards making assets the subject of the formula. And so meaning we're going to try to start with assets instead of having owner's equity as the beginning of the equation. So we're working towards making assets the beginning of the equation. So what we have is owner's equity is equals to assets minus liabilities, right? So the next step that I want you to do is I want you to add, because we're trying to make assets the subject of the formula, I want you to add liabilities on both sides of the equation. Add liabilities on both sides of the equation. And then, so it's an algebraic law. Yeah, if you do mathematics, you'd know that what you do on one side of the equation, you need to do on the other side. Ne? So now you've added liabilities on both sides of the equation. That means what you have is you have owner's equity plus liability equals to assets minus liabilities plus liabilities, right? Okay, so on the side where you have a positive liability and a negative liability, do you see that side on your scribbler, on your exam pad? Now on that side, we all know that a negative and a positive is a negative, meaning a negative and a positive cancel each other. So on your thing there, on your notepad, I would like you to cancel that positive liability and that negative liability. So now we go to the next stage, or next step rather, where now what we left with owner's equity plus liability is equals to assets, right? Now we are getting to the actual equation that is being used by accountants today or bookkeepers today. So now we have that. So you can turn it around and have it as asset is equals to owner's equity plus liabilities. So that is how we derive that is where the equation derives from, right? And yeah, so the proverbial accounting equation is A equals to O plus L. That is the end of this video or this lesson for today. And I also wanted to express in terms of when you can anticipate, like the period, in terms of when you can anticipate my videos or the publication of my videos on social media. So you can anticipate my videos between Saturday and Monday. So if I don't post on Saturday, I will post on Sunday. If I don't post on Sunday, I'll definitely post on Monday. So our next lesson will be based on how does income, expenses, capital, and drawings, how do those four affect the accounting equation? So that is what we're going to focus on our next video. Thank you very much for watching. You're more than welcome to comment down below if you need some clarity on anything that we were talking about today based on the lesson. You can ask me questions. Feel free to ask me questions. Thank you once more.